I'm lucky this week.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Sorry about that. I've been chatting away for 2 minutes, not realising that you can't hear me. What's going on there? So yes, welcome. Welcome to the show. I'll start again, shall I? Yes, I thought I'd started the show, but I hadn't. So welcome. It's all 80s today. I will be with you for 2 hours playing you 80s tunes as chosen by my lovely friend Mikey, who suggested that I do that. It's partly in tribute to Olivia Newton-John, really, who is having a bit of a difficult time at the moment. So this is mostly in tribute to Mikey, who's a lovely guy and a good friend. And I was just saying, but I shall say it again because obviously you didn't hear me, that I stayed in Lewes yesterday and I shall be staying again tonight as well because I've made a weekend of it this weekend. I thought my kids are off doing their own thing. One of them's gone to Cubs camp. The other one is having a sleepover and seeing his dad and doing other things. So I thought I'd stay down here because it is the Edge of the Sea weekend, which is the festival that I've been going to for the last few years, where the Wedding Present perform on the Friday and the Saturday, and Dave Gedge chooses bands to perform over the weekend. So last night the support band was called John, and today there's loads of bands on. So the Flowers of Hell, Cinerama, which is Dave Gedge's other band, Harker, the Trento Group, Sink Your Teeth, Chorus Girl, the Ukrainians, the Fallen Women, and the Wedding Present, who are going to be obviously performing as the headline act. So all sorts of brilliant bands. I have actually got a spare wristband. So if you ask me nicely and you want to come along, just let me know and you can come along. Went along last night to watch with my lovely friend who told me that the support band were called John, and he said, oh, there used to be a band called the Three Johns. Never heard of them, no idea. So thank you for that, Neil. Gig buddy extraordinaire. So yes, got up this morning, which is the start of a song, and it was so windy outside. I was originally going to walk to the studio this morning, but I overslept because I hadn't quite appreciated quite how tired I was, and thankfully got a lift into the studio. She's very lazy because I wasn't staying that far away, but I'm here. And everything in the studio is hunky-dory and working, which is great because, as I'm sure you're aware, there were lots of power cuts yesterday. So we're all in, we're all sorted, we're all good to go. And of course, if you're going to have an 80s playlist, you've got to have this guy.
Think
The lovely Rick Astley. Now, I don't know if you've heard of the concept of Rickrolling. It's brilliant. It's a whole internet meme where somebody sends you an attachment or something and you open it and it is that. It is Rick Astley singing Never Gonna Give You Up. And then you've been Rickrolled. It's more amusing than I've made it sound. It would have to be, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, it would have to be. So, how's your weekend going? Are you enjoying it? If you're on school holidays, have you survived? Are you surviving? Mine are doing good things, actually. They're having good fun. They're going to sports camps and doing lots of fun things with their friends, which has been great. This weekend, as I say, the older one has gone camping with the cubs, and little one, I managed to arrange it so that he had a sleepover with a friend yesterday, and I phoned him yesterday from Brighton Beach. I was within distance of hearing and seeing Dirty Dancing on the big Luna Cinema screen, and I called up to say goodnight to him, and he was having such good fun with his little friend. He just came and said, "Hello mummy, good night, love you, bye." And that was it. That's the sum total of conversation I had with my youngest. I won't hear anything from the oldest now until I see him on Sunday, which is no news is good news, is my philosophy on this. I think that's the only way you can look at it, really, isn't it? If you send your kids away into the hands of others, you hope that you won't hear anything, because that means they're having a great time and everything's going well. So that's all good. And my lovely niece is going to be 1 year old. Well, she is 1 year old. It's her first birthday today. So that's very exciting. She's adorable. And in other family news, our friends who have a beautiful Boston Terrier called Malibu, she is now mum to 4 pups who are absolutely gorgeous. My boys will probably be making a bid to get some pups, but I have to explain to them that we're not really set up for a puppy at this time. But also my sons have still got their eye on 4 kittens that they saw at Foal Farm the other week. So... Yes, it's busy time for animals and things in our house. They're kind of making big decisions. So if you fancy going to a gig today, obviously, if you're not going to Edge of the Sea, you can do something a bit more local. You can go to the Royal Oak today and go and see Oh Mama. You can go to see Mixmaster Pete Dadswell at DJ Night at the Lamb. That's 9 o'clock and that's free. There's an open night, another day, another crust at the Ellie. That's from 8 p.m. and that's £3. Monday night, you could go to the Snowdrop for some jazz with Tony Kofi, Darren Beckett and Nigel Thomas. Friday the 16th, you can see the Coils and Sumerian Kings at the Con Club, and that's free from 8:30. So next Saturday, Suspiciously Elvis fundraising evening supporting local charities, and that's at the Con Club, 7:30 onwards from £15. And there's also an open night, Trouble and Strife, and that's at the Ellie. And then we can go straight on to the following Monday, which is the 19th, and there's going to be again jazz at the Snowdrop with Sarah Oshlag, Darren Beckett, Terry Seabrook and Terry Pack. And then we're getting to Saturday the 24th, open night all dressed up at the Ellie, 8 p.m, and that's £3. So yeah, I'm with you every Saturday in August, which is I was sort of thinking about, I thought, I can do every Saturday in August, and actually I'm enjoying it. It's giving me the chance to be a bit more creative with my playlists and being a bit more creative with my content. I will tell you about the upcoming shows and the shows that I've been to see, but you couldn't play the 80s without playing Whitney, could you? There are a bajillion Whitney songs to choose from, and they're all kind of poppy and cute, so this is the one I decided to go for.
You see, I haven't been the same since that cold November day. We said we needed space, but all we found was an empty place. And the only things I learned is that I need you desperately. So here I am, and can you please tell to the open arms of a love that's waiting there. And if somebody loves you, won't they always love you? I look in your eyes and I know that you still care for me. I've been around enough to know that dreams don't turn to gold, and that there is no easy way. No, you just can't run away. And what we had was so much more than we ever had before. And no matter how I try, you're always on my mind. So here I am, and can you please tell me, where do broken hearts go? Can they find their way home? Back to the open arms of a love that's waiting there. And if somebody loves you, won't they always love you? I look in your eyes and I know that you still care for me. And now that I am here with you, I'll never let you go. I look into your eyes and now I know. Where do broken hearts go? Can they find their way home? Back to the open arms of a love that's waiting there. And if somebody loves you, won't they always love you? I look in your eyes and I know that you still care. Where do broken hearts go? Can they find their way home? Back to the open arms of a love that's waiting there. And if somebody loves you, won't they always love you? I look in your eyes and I know that you still care for me. For me. You still care for me.
Oh, the late Whitney Houston, who had the most incredible voice. Just run upstairs and run back down. Dear, I thought I did quite well. Yeah, I didn't get any breakfast this morning. Like I say, I had all these grand plans. I was actually going to get up and go into Lewes and have breakfast at Bill's. That was my plan. And I didn't get up in time. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure it would have been open at the time that I was going to go. So all these grand plans fell by the wayside, and I ended up getting in here just in time. So yes, you'll probably hear me chomping after the next song. But this week I took my boys to go and see Shrek the Musical. It was a local production at the Churchill in Bromley, and every year they have a youth production in the summer where lots of young people audition. They're not from stage school, they're just young people who are really interested in being in a show. And last year it was Bugsy Malone, and this year it was Shrek the Musical. And I've never seen Shrek the Musical. I've really, really enjoyed it. I love the film. I love the music in the film, actually, and characters like Donkey, and obviously, you know, Mike Myers does the voice of the ogre. So it was nicely done. So each of the lead parts, which is Shrek, Fiona and the donkey, were played by multiple actors. So each of them got to have a significant part in the production. There are some great songs in there, and a really nice story and good fun. Lots and lots of actors took part in it. The kids really enjoyed it, not least because they got a massive slush puppy drink out of it as well. And it was quite a late one for them, though. So the next morning, they were immovable objects. Getting them out of bed was not the easiest. I look forward to their teenage years when that will be a very normal behaviour for them. I'll get used to it then. But yes, Shrek the Musical, it's still on tonight. I think the last performance, there are 2 performances today. So it's a lovely show, really, really well done, selling very well as well. So summer is often a quiet time. A lot of theatres go dark in August because people go away. And that's why I think the West End theatres do Kids Week in the summer months, because it means lots of children and families can go and to see theatre productions for a very reasonable price. I've mentioned it before, but in case you haven't heard me, Kids Week is when the West End theatres offer free tickets for children accompanying a full-paying adult. So you buy one full-paying adult ticket and you can get 1 child ticket free and up to 2 additional child tickets for half price. So it's worth it if there's a group of you going and you're going in to see a show. It's a good saving on some great shows, and all the big shows are included in Kids Week. If you go onto the internet and have a look, you will find all of the shows are included. Tickets do sell out. I mean, there is an allocation and tickets do sell out. It is a very, very popular offer. But trust me, it is worth it. I've taken my kids to see various shows using the Kids Week offer, and it is a bargain. So there you go. I'm going to let Mikey know that I followed his advice in doing an 80s playlist, because I think he'd be chuffed to know that he got his way. And I'm going to play some cliche ones, and I'm going to play some not so cliche ones. But when you think of the 80s, you think of Wham, right? I mean, anything that's got the 80s always has that image of Andrew Ridgeley and George Michael in their baggy T-shirts. George Michael with his bouffant, bleached blonde summer hair. And it's always for this song. Good old Andrew and George. Now, there is the apocryphal story. I'm hoping it's true. I don't know. I'm guessing it probably is. That George Michael gave Andrew Ridgeley a writing credit on, I was going to say Careless Whisper. I think it's Careless Whisper. Because obviously he had the writing credits pretty much for all the Wham songs. So I think that it sounds like a really patronising gesture, but I think it's pretty much set him up for life. You know, that was a friendship thing. I think that's right. I might have made it up. If you can hear me, I'm putting peanut butter on my toast. I do apologise, but as I said, you know, a girl's got to eat. I've got to function. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about suitable things to put on toast. And yes, peanut butter, definitely the way to go. Anyway, I shall stop whittering about stuff like that. So, what have you got planned this weekend? There's so many things going on. It's well, there were so many things going on. Because of the predictions of high winds, of course, quite a few festival planners have had to postpone or basically make decisions that they're not going to go ahead. And a few festivals... Now, this is the thing. In the last 10 years or so, festivals have become really big business. So pretty much every weekend in July and August, there's a festival somewhere. And I went through a phase in the early days of blogging where I was very, very envious of these people who got invited to all these festivals with free tickets for their families. I thought, well, you know, why don't we get invited to things? But, you know, I go to this 2-day festival every year, which is on Brighton Beach. I mean, it's not on the beach, it's actually in Concord too. And there's quite a few bands, and they're all within, you know, very short distance of each other. And I managed to see most of them, and I enjoy it. The idea of taking my kids to somewhere where you've got to walk miles and miles to see a band, where there are crowds and it's really busy. And actually, the one time I did go to a gig, a festival at Victoria Park, I didn't get to see the band I wanted to see. I used to go to Donington every year, which was great fun. And then they introduced 2 stages, and then I found that too much choice because I had to pick which band I wanted to go and see. So the idea that there'd be a festival where you'd have 4 or 5 stages and tents and places where you've got different acts, I think that in some ways for me that would be too much choice. It's probably just me though. Now, you've probably picked up on my adoration of Channing Tatum over the last few weeks, the way I've been going on and on and on about Magic Mike. Can you imagine my consternation when I found out this week that he and Jessie J had actually been at my place of work? They had turned up at my place of work for a visit while he was over here promoting Magic Mike, the live show. And my colleague, Catherine, had walked past Channing Tatum. Now, I'm guessing that I wasn't in the office that day because I'm pretty sure I would have heard the screams of delight had I been at work. So I'm completely gutted that I didn't get to see Channing Tatum. Absolutely gutted. So in acknowledgement of that, but also in celebration of the beauty that is Channing Tatum, you've got to play this.
Girl. And have we got news for you? You better listen. Get ready, all your lonely girls, and leave those umbrellas at home. All right.
It's rising.
Rising.
Rounders getting low.
How low, girl?
According to all sources.
What sources now?
The street's the place to
We better
go.
hurry up. 'Cause tonight, for the first time, just about half
The Fantastic Weather Girls and It's Raining Men, which features in the film Magic Mike, in case you're not an aficionado of all things Channing Tatum. Yeah, I know. It's a bit sad. Yeah. So the next one is it's also an internet meme. But it's also a really popular track. And it's the one that most people know Dexys for. You know, Dexys and the whole dungarees and hanging out in the street type thing. I think, now this is something, I've said this before and I've mentioned it before. I'm not entirely sure if it's entirely true. I think I bumped into Kevin Rowland a few years ago in North London. I think he was going through a kind of spiritual awakening. I think it was him. In a white dress. I don't know. Sorry, Kevin, if it wasn't you. I'm not maligning your personality. I was convinced it was you. It may not have been. You nearly got a sneak preview of the next track. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, you can. At Swazzy Rogers, SWAZIRODGES. I'm in the process of changing my name on all social media, but it hasn't yet happened yet. And I don't know. I don't want to have to set up new accounts I may have to. But you can look me up on Twitter at Swazi Rogers, Instagram at Swazi Rogers, on Facebook, Swazi Radio DJ, and on the Swazi Radio DJ page, I usually share links to the shows that have been. So if you miss a show, if you miss a Saturday Live, it will always be available on Spotify and on Spreaker after it's been broadcast. And you can listen to the shows on Spreaker when they're going out live, and you can also listen to them on Spotify, I think, after the event. I don't know if you can listen on Spotify live. I've never tried. So that's how you can get in touch. That's how you can say hi. If you, like Mikey, my lovely friend who requested the 80s soundtrack for today, want to make a suggestion of some music, or if you want to even make a request. It's not an immediate thing, I'll be honest. But he suggested that it might be a good idea, and I agreed with him. So that's what I've done. Oh, you don't want to hear that again, do you? No, you don't. So mucking about, pressing buttons and things that I shouldn't do. Yes, but if you've got an idea, if you want to come on the show and talk to me about, a gig you're doing, if you want to talk to me about an event you've got coming up, get in touch. You can get in touch via Radio Lewes. We've got all the usual things on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Radio Lewes is in all those places. Ollie Oyster is where we are on Facebook, because the Oyster Project is based at Westgate Chapel down in Lewes. If you are local, you'll know where that is. If you're out in the middle of California, you probably won't. So, but you can still request things, even if you are another side of the world. It doesn't matter. You can still request things from us. So the 80s soundtrack continues. Now, the reason that I'm playing the next one, I didn't know this song in the 80s, I'll be entirely honest with you. I discovered it thanks to the TV show Glee, which I think has given Journey a whole new fan base. So I'm fairly sure that the whole concept of rock choir and all of that sort of thing, and also the musical We Will Rock You features this as well. It's very funny, tongue-in-cheek musical. It's good fun. So for that reason, this is not one from my 80s memories, but it is one that is very, very popular. And also I like the sentiment, don't stop believing.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night.
That's from an album called Flashback International. International spelled with a C, so there you go. Now, part of the reason for playing this for Mikey, who is a lovely guy and a lovely friend, who I used to work with years and years ago, is because of our shared adoration for Madonna. I think we both accept that Madonna is... she has her days, her good and bad days, and that there are periods of Madonna's music career which have been astoundingly good and periods that have been not so good. So of the 80s, that was obviously where she came into her own. Now, this song that I'm going to play is one that she absolutely does not like. So I'm really sorry, Em, but I'm playing it because it is the epitome of the 80s. And again, if the image of Andrew and George in their Frankie Says Relax t-shirts is not typical of the 80s, then the image of Madonna in the pink satin dress as Marilyn Monroe is definitely, possibly the archetype of the 80s. And of course it's taken from How to Marry a Millionaire, which is the theme of the video for the song Material Girl.
Some boys kiss me, some boys hug me. I think they're okay. If they don't give me proper credit, I just walk away. They can beg and they can plead, but they can't see the light. That's right. 'Cause the boy with the cold hard cash is always Mr. Right. 'Cause we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You know that we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. Some boys romance, some boys slow, then that's alright with me. If they can't raise my interest, then I have to let them be. Some boys try and some boys lie, but I don't let them play. Only boys that save their pennies make my rainy day. 'Cause we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You know that we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. Living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You know that we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl.
Living in a material world. Living in a material world. Living in a material world. Living in a material world.
Boys may come and boys may go, and that's alright, you see. Experience has made me rich, and now they're after me. 'Cause everybody's living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You know that we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. Living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You know that we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. A material, a material, a material, a material world.
In a material world. Living in a material world. Living in a material world. Living
I've said many times before that I think the Material Girl phase is the one of Madonna's where if you're going to go to a Madonna karaoke or something, you want to go dressed as 80s Madonna. I mean, I like the kind of Raggedy Ann look with the, the rags in the hair and the vintage jacket and the Diamante boots and lots of bangles. But if you're going to go in a sateen 80s frock, I mean, if you think about it, Pretty in Pink had the pink dress. She had the pink dress for this video. It was, it was a real theme, wasn't it? Maybe not. Mikey, next time you do Madonna karaoke, you've got to go dressed as Material Girl Madonna. That's my challenge to you. So, thanks to our lovely friends at Viva Lewes, I can tell you what's happening this month, starting from today. So today, Furl Vintage Fair, stalls selling fashion, antiques and homeware, artisan food, bars, live music and dancing. And this is at Furl Place grounds from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. You can go to furlvintagefair.co.uk to find out more. Tuesday, it's NT Live at the Depot. And this is the Lehman Trilogy, the story of a family and a company that changed the world, told in 3 parts on a single day. Starts at 1 p.m. and it's £20. Tuesday the 13th to Saturday the 17th, you can see Annie, starring Leslie Joseph. That's going to be at the Congress Theatre in Eastbourne. Leslie Joseph is brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. I've seen her in Panto. I've seen her in Young Frankenstein. I can honestly say she is such an amazing performer. She's so good. And what I hear about her is that she is a really generous performer as well. She does not expect to be the star. She's not starry in any way. She's a good egg. So good. Well done you, Leslie. So I'm looking forward to seeing her and Annie. I think she'd be wonderful as Miss Hannigan. Wednesday the 14th, Britain on Film, Rural Life. This is at the Keep. Evocative collection of films from the BFI archive exploring country life in the UK throughout the 20th century. Includes footage capturing the life of a Scottish shepherd in the 1930s, which is the first sound documentary produced in the UK, a Somerset blacksmith demonstrating his craft in the 40s, and coverage of ice skating on Loch Nea, sorry, apologies for the pronunciation, in the 1960s. That's at the Keep from 2:30 and it's £3. Lewes Catalyst Club meets on Wednesday the 14th as well. 3 guest speakers talk 15 minutes each on subjects close to their hearts, hosted by David Bramwell at the Lewes Arms, 7:30 and it's £7. If you want to go to the Fuego Lounge, you can join the Paint Club, which is a monthly event. The group will be painting a chameleon in a jungle. All materials are provided, no experience is required. It's 7 o'clock and it starts from £20. Thursday the 15th, you can go and see The Islands and the Whales, part of the Eco Film Night series showing films about the environment. And that's at Pell's Pool from 9 p.m. Ticket information you can get from pellspool.org.uk. And I think the understanding is if there's a lifeguard, you can also swim. But there is a swimming entry fee applicable. And Saturday the 17th, Sunday the 18th, Colorscape, a labyrinth of colour, light and music. Explore countless interlinked rainbow chambers with extraordinary light and colour experiences. Along the way, you can also join in with musicians who'll be playing an array of different instruments. That's at Charleston, 11 till 4, £6 or £3, free for children under 2. And Saturday the 17th to Sunday the 1st of September is the New Haven Festival, which I will tell you more about later. I think Colorscape was something that was on Shepherd's Bush Green for quite a few weeks, a while ago now. It was very, very popular. It looks incredible. A real kind of sensory experience. Colour, light and music sounds great. Now, I was going to go for a swim at Pell's Pool this morning, thinking, I'll get there early. I'll go before I come to the studio. Turns out the early morning swim is only during the week. And also, considering how windy it is, I'm not entirely sure I would want to go surfing at Pell's in the morning. So, yet again, my plans to swim at Pell's have been taken away from me. I don't know. It will happen. It will happen, but it didn't happen this morning. And actually, I think I probably just needed the sleep, so that probably did me some good. Yes, that's enough jabbering on from me. I'll tell you about the New Haven Festival afterwards. But for now, who have I got next? I haven't actually got I'm looking at the wrong thing. Do you know that's what it is? I'm trying to use a tablet by using the mouse, which is for the laptop. This is what happens when you have too much tech and not enough brains. I told you that Dirty Dancing was playing at Luna Beach last night on the Luna Beach Cinema. And I was sneakily watching it while waiting to go and see the first band. So I'm going to play you a song from Dirty Dancing. Carmen and Hungry Eyes. I don't know if Eric Carmen did anything else. Did he do anything else? Sorry, Eric. If that's you and you've done loads of stuff, I do apologise. I'm sure you've done very, very well. So the New Haven Festival, which I promised I would tell you about just before we give Alexa another try, which we do all the time, and every now and again she actually responds. So last year, New Haven Town Council launched its inaugural festival. It's been a wonderful success and has reached all across the community. This year it's promising to be even better, with 2 weeks of arts and culture throughout the town, including walks, talks, exhibitions, workshops and Artwave open houses. The mission is to gather together all the creative talent and community spirit in New Haven and ongoing celebrate with events that have been supported by the town, helping individuals and groups express their creativity, gain knowledge of their practice and build confidence to move forward. That sounds great. So there's loads of stuff going on that you can find out about and get tickets to. It's from the 17th of August to the 1st of September. It's a festival of artists and makers from Lewes, Seaford, New Haven and surrounding villages. You can go to artwavefestival.org to find out about the details of all the different events, and I guess to get tickets for those that you need them for. You can also follow on Instagram at Artwave Festival. And if you do take photographs, you can share them on Instagram. Artwave wants to inspire the next generation of artists with free family workshops this summer in Lewes, Seaford and New Haven. So there's the Green Show, which happens at various times from the 15th of August to the 25th. Seed Magazine workshop Saturday 17th of August and Sunday the 18th of August at various times. Let's Play flag making workshop on Saturday the 31st of August at Lewes Depot. So loads and loads of things going on which you can find out about at the New Haven Festival. So there's family events which you can take your kids to, and then there's lots of things including events at Lewes Depot, which I'm trying to find for you. There's going to be movies and stuff as well, aren't there? So I'm going to give Alexa a try on the basis that Alexa and I every now and again have a little chat. So Alexa, what's the news, please? Alexa, what's the news?
Here's your news. In weather, in Lewes, it's 18 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can expect clouds with a chance of showers, with a high of 19 degrees and a low of 15 degrees. From BBC Sports News.
The latest BBC Sport update.
Well, Liverpool could be without goalkeeper Alisson for a few weeks. He picked up a calf injury last night in the 4-1 win over Norwich and will miss the UEFA Super Cup with Chelsea next week. Alisson says he'll be back as soon as possible and stronger. Well, it's the new second keeper Adrian's job to hold the fort for a while. Former Liverpool defender Stephen Warnock was part of our team at Anfield last night.
It is a significant loss, and the fact that as well, you've got to get used to another keeper, his style of play. Does he come for crosses? Does he come out for things? What's he like with the ball at his feet? I think we saw tonight that he's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, but it's his decision making, where he wants his defenders from corners, set pieces. They're all little things that they're going to have to nail down super quick in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, plenty more on the Football Daily podcast on BBC Sounds now. 5 Live Sports on air today from 12 with updates of champions Manchester City's opener away to West Ham. Plenty of new faces on show at the London Stadium, not least potentially Pep Guardiola's record signing Rodri in midfield.
Every day I'm more convinced that what we have done, this deal with him, will be one of the best this club has done in the last years. So will be an incredible holding midfielder for us, for this club, for English football.
Well, from 3, we've got full commentary of Sheffield United's game at Bournemouth. It's Blades boss Chris Wilder's first test in the top flight, but yeah, he may struggle to be heard.
First came back in the Premier League and I can't speak, so the players will be delighted about that.
He's had a tough week, Chris Wilder. Could be a big day for Wilfried Zaha too, as he could line up for Crystal Palace against Everton, who tried to sign him and failed in the transfer window. Palace boss Roy Hodgson admits Zaha isn't in the best frame of mind.
I can't say to you that he's jubilant. I can't say to you that he's delighted with the situation, because it's not the outcome he wanted. The outcome he wanted was to be sold and to leave the club. For us, it's been a very good outcome because Wilf is still with us.
Champions Celtic are back in domestic action in the Scottish Premiership at midday. They've got Motherwell away just 3 days after facing Cluj in Romania on Wednesday night.
We didn't get back to 4:30 on Thursday morning, and it's a 12 o'clock kickoff. So the turnaround is very, very short. You know, the players know that we're in 2 competitions, important competitions at the minute, and this is the most important game of the season because it's the next one.
Manager Neil Lennon there. Andy Murray will play Richard Gasquet in his singles return at the Cincinnati Masters next week. Murray's only played doubles since June, following that hip resurfacing surgery in the new year. Naomi Osaka, meanwhile, will be again women's world number one on Monday after Karolina Pliskova lost her quarter-final at the Rogers Cup. Anthony Joshua seems pleased with the news that his rematch against unified world heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. will take place in Saudi Arabia on December 7th. He tweeted, "Neutral grounds, let's go." They're calling it the Clash on the Dunes. And on 5 Live Sports Extra from 5 to 2 this afternoon, we'll have full commentary of Ireland's Rugby World Cup warm-up game against Italy.
BBC Sport.
From BBC News.
Hi, it's Luke and Laura here with an update from the BBC.
The National Grid says it will provide the energy regulator Ofgem with a detailed report into last night's huge power cut. Nearly 1 million people across England and Wales were plunged into darkness when 2 generators failed. It led to major delays on the trains. Michael got stuck on one from Newcastle to London for 11 hours.
It's very difficult to blame the staff on the train. They're just doing what they're being told. I think the most frustrating part is that we've never really been getting sort of told exactly what's happening.
Duncan Burt is from the National Grid.
We're absolutely confident that it wasn't a cyber attack. This was very, very rare and unusual losses of those 2 power generators.
8 people have been arrested in the search for a missing Vietnamese student who disappeared 3 days ago in York. Lin Lei, who's 15 and speaks no English, went missing from her tour group on Tuesday. Police say she was last seen with an Asian man on the city walls.
The parents of a teenager from London who went missing almost a week ago in Malaysia have thanked rescue teams who've been searching for her.
We know you're searching night and day for Nora. We see you working so hard and also praying with us, being with us.
15-year-old Nora Corinne, who has special needs, disappeared in a remote region near the jungle while on a family holiday. Howard Johnson, our Southeast Asia correspondent, has been out with the rescue teams.
We joined them as we went into the thick undergrowth here. Lots of mud, lots of vines that would trip you up as you're trying to pass through it. They were using a loud hailer with a recording of Nora's mum saying, "Nora, please, please come to me, it's your mother."
At least 13 people have been killed and more than 1 million are thought to have been forced from their homes due to a major typhoon that's been tearing through Shanghai in China. 16 people are also reportedly missing after a landslide was triggered by the storm.
A school for pupils with special needs has put gaming on the curriculum. It's thought to be the first in the UK to do so. Teachers at the Richard Cloudesley School in North London say it's improved the confidence, communication and problem-solving skills of the pupils. I'm sure I would have preferred that to maths too.
Yep, I feel exactly the same. Now on to sport. A good start for Liverpool as the new Premier League season gets underway.
Alexander-Arnold angle ball, Origi with a header! It's 4-0! Too easy for Liverpool!
They beat Norwich 4-1 last night, but the Reds' goalkeeper Alisson did pick up an injury and will miss the UEFA Super Cup against Chelsea next week. Manchester City start their title defence at West Ham later. And Anthony Joshua seems pleased with the news that his rematch against unified heavyweight world champion Andy Ruiz Jr. will take place in Saudi Arabia in December. He's tweeted, "Neutral grounds, let's go." It's being called Clash of the Dunes.
That's all for now. Check back in with us anytime.
Thanks, Alexa. That was very kind. And it worked, which is always a wonderful thing to happen. When it all works, it's wonderful. I didn't play this earlier because it didn't seem to fit. But I do like Pat Benatar, so I'm going to play her now, I think.
Many times I tried to tell you, many times you cried alone. Boys, I'm surprised how well you cut my feelings to the bone. Don't wanna leave you really, I've invested too much time to give you up that easy to the doubts that complicate your mind. We belong to the light, we belong to the love. We belong to the sound of the words we both falling under. what to do with my strength anyway. If we become a habit, do we distort the facts? Now there's no looking forward. Now there's no turning back when you say we belong to the light, we belong to the Father. We belong to the sound of the words we both falling under. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together. Close your eyes and try to sleep now. Close your eyes and try to dream. Clear your mind and do your best to try and watch the palette gleam. We can't begin to know it, how much we really care. I hear your voice inside me. I see your face everywhere. Still you say we belong to the light, we belong to the Father. We belong to the sound of the words we both falling under. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together. We belong to the light, we belong to the Father. We belong to the sound of the words we both falling under. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong together.
Pat Benatar looks very much like Sheena Easton on the cover of that single, which is quite interesting. For those of you wanting a cat update, my cat is doing very well. He was, you may know, not last week but the week before, he went to stay at the vet's for an extended visit. He'd been quite poorly, but he's good. He's getting better. He's tried to steal some of my cheese sandwich last week. Went upstairs to check on my sons and came down to find that the cat had started chomping at my sandwich. So I think he's getting better. I mean, if he's stealing food, he's definitely back to normal. We did go for a checkup this week, and he's still losing a bit of weight, so I've had to put extra food around the house for him so that he can keep topping up. So I can normally fatten up the cat quite quickly. It's not too difficult. I mean, getting fatter is easy. Getting thin is the difficult thing, isn't it? I certainly find that anyway. I think that's it. But I shan't bore you with those things. So for the rest of the afternoon, I'm going to be heading over to Brighton to hang out and watch loads of brilliant bands at Concord too. And it's going to be windy. I mean, it's fairly blowy out there. So if you are going to be going out today, be very careful and, wrap up against the elements. Although it's not cold. It is windy, but it's not cold, which seems weird, doesn't it? So I'm going to be prepared for that because I've always thought because I've got quite big feet, I wouldn't get blown over in a rough wind, and that does appear to be true. So I'm going to head back to my accommodation in a little bit, I think, and put my bags down and travel light to go into Brighton this afternoon. But the positive thing is that it means that the beach won't be quite as crowded as it would be on a normal August weekend. In a couple of weeks, I'm planning on bringing the boys down to Brighton for a couple of days for the bank holiday so we can go out and have some fun, and hopefully the weather will be a bit different then. Might take them to the I-360 again. They've been on the I-360 before and they really enjoyed it, so I was thinking of getting an annual pass for that, but we don't really go on it often enough to justify it. And if my son fancies it, I might take him on the zip wire, which he keeps saying he wants to do, but we'll see how he's coped with his Cubs weekend. And then manage after that and see how he's doing once we've done that. Now, I've played quite a lot of Prince songs in the past. I always play Prince songs, and it is just a thing, really. But I was watching a programme. I think I mentioned that I'd been watching a programme about punk, and also there was a programme the other day about the 80s, talking about different artists. And there was a bit where they spoke to Wendy and Lisa, who were in the Prince and the Revolution. They were in the Revolution. And the thing about Prince that all of his musicians always said was that he was very positive about promoting them to go on and do their own thing. Very, very hard taskmaster, but also a brilliant musician and very, very talented. And I hadn't appreciated that Wendy Melvoin, of Wendy and Lisa, had come up with the essential guitar sound on this iconic track.
Kiss.
To be responsible for that guitar, I mean, amazing, absolutely amazing. My friend Robin the other day sent me a link to the live performance where Prince and so many amazing guitarists were together. I think it was a tribute, actually, possibly a tribute to George Harrison, and they're all playing Why My Guitar Gently Weeps, and he said, I'd never seen this before. I mean, it is Tom Petty, Steve Winwood, various others are on the stage, and Prince just steals the limelight completely. If you've not seen it, check it out on YouTube. It is mastery of... Essentially, he comes on, steals the performance, and then goes off again. It's just amazing. There's a lot of ego in there, obviously, but it was beautiful. It's a amazing bit of work. Definitely worth watching. So, I've given you some updates on what's happening. I've told you what's going on out there. There's a gig coming up at Lewes Con Club on the 8th of September. Alvin Gibbs and the Disobedient Servants, supported by Charlie Harper of the UK Subs and Criminal Mind. You can get tickets for £10 in advance. You can get them from Psy Sounds. You can get them from Punka Bunker and Eventbrite. If you go to Psy Sounds, there is no booking fee. So support Psy. Death or Glory presents Alvin Gibbs, featuring Alvin Gibbs, Jamie Oliver from UK Subs and Lee Hegarty from Ruts DC. But very few of these words mean very much to me. I'm saying them, I don't know what they mean. I'm just speaking the words. Don't expect me to know what they're about. So I thought I'd catch you up on the other stuff. Catch you up? Is that even English? On some of the other stuff that's happening. Last time I told you about the Retonians returning to the Congress Theatre to perform Top Hat the Musical, which has been and gone, so let's not go there. The Meatloaf Story, I'd Do Anything for Love, is on at the Congress Theatre on Thursday the 22nd of August at 7:30. Tickets are $29.50, under 16s £15. The Friday the 23rd of August from 11, it's the Little Mix Experience. 4 hugely talented girls pay tribute to one of the UK's finest girl bands. I'm guessing it's at 11 a.m. because they're expecting kids to go. I don't think that's being rude. Friday the 23rd of August in the evening at 8 p.m, it's T-Rextasy. They've been performing around the world for 20 years and have been described by many as beyond the boundaries of tribute. If you'd like to know exactly what a Mark Bolan concert was like in the 70s, then this is the show for you. Tickets are £26.50. And then Calendar Girls the Musical. Now, Leslie Joseph is in this one as well, looking somewhat different from how she looks in the other one. So Sarah Jane Buckley, Sue Devaney, Julia Hills, Judy Holt, Leslie Joseph, Lisa Maxwell, Rebecca Storm are in Calendar Girls, the musical by Gary Barlow and Tim Firth, based on the true story of the Calendar Girls, a group of extraordinary ladies who achieved something extraordinary. This marvellous musical comedy, which received fantastic 5-star reviews in the West End, now comes to the Congress Theatre. And the Times described Calendar Girls, the musical, as pure gold. Yes, you will get to see them in the buff, I think. It started a whole trend, though, didn't it? Lots of people did naked calendars after the whole Calendar Girls thing. So this was the WI. It's based on a true story. The WI did a naked calendar to raise money for charity. And then after that, there were all sorts of naked calendars. Some of, anglers, farmers. My favourite, as you can imagine, was the firemen calendar, which I thought was amazing. So, yes, I was not expecting to see a picture of Lisa Maxwell and Leslie Joseph in the buff. But there you go. Annie. Tuesday the 13th, Saturday the 17th of August at the Congress Theatre, direct from the West End. And again, you get to see the lovely Leslie Joseph in that as well. Smash hit production of Annie comes to Eastbourne for 1 week only, direct from London's West End. Set in 1930s New York during the Great Depression, brave young Annie is forced to live a life of misery at Miss Hannigan's orphanage. Her luck soon changes when she's chosen to spend a fairy tale Christmas with famous billionaire Oliver Warbucks. Meanwhile, spiteful Miss Hannigan has other ideas and hatches a plan to spoil Annie's search for her true family. Now, this one was remade recently, and it had a brilliant cast, very different. I mean, Jamie Foxx plays Daddy Warbucks, and he's made his fortune from cellular telephone technology. So it's quite a different proposition, but it was really sweetly done. I thought it was a great updating of the story. And Cameron Diaz is Miss Hannigan. I still find it very hard in my head to conceive of the idea that Cameron Diaz is old enough to play characters like Miss Hannigan, because I will always think of her as being the character in The Mask, which I think was her screen debut. I think that was the very first role she ever played. And she's still incredibly beautiful. And I don't think of her as being an older actress. I watched her in Night and Day the other day, which she's in with Tom Cruise. And it appears too old for the women that he is alongside. To me, he just appears that little bit too old to be paired up with these young actresses, because he still has that vanity of actors who think that they can be leading men, which he can. I mean, to be fair to him, he's still an action hero. But I think the actresses are getting to the point where it is getting a bit embarrassing how young they are. They're possibly going to be the age of his daughter at some point. Anyway, that's enough nastiness. Moving away from the nastiness. Getting to being nice again. So this is one that features in the film Pitch Perfect. It's a big motif in the love story between Bella and I can't remember the boy's name actually. And he tells her to watch The Breakfast Club, which she's never seen, and she doesn't get it. And then she does watch it, and this song obviously is the epitome of the Breakfast Club. There's a whole thing in the 80s where lots of American films featured songs by British bands, because there was the British are coming whole thing happening, and lots of British bands did brilliantly over in America because of it, not least Simple Minds.
Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the heart of me. The love we share seems to go nowhere, and I've lost my light, for I toss and turn, I can't sleep at night. Once I ran to you, now I'll run from you. This tainted love you've given, I give you all a boy could give you. Take my tears and that's not nearly all. Tainted love, tainted love. Now I know I've got to run away. I've got to get away. You don't really want any more from me to make things right. You need someone to hold you tight, and you think love is to pray, but I'm sorry, I don't pray that way. Once I ran to you, now I run from you. This tainted love you've given, I give you all a boy could give you. Take my tears and that's not nearly all. Tainted love, tainted love. Don't touch me, please, I cannot stand the way you tease. I love you though you hurt me so. Now I'm gonna pack my things and go. Tainted love, tainted love, tainted love, tainted love. Touch me, baby, tainted love. Touch me, baby, tainted love. Tainted love. Tainted love.
Doing a bit of a DJ thing there. A bit of DJ mixing. Yeah, Soft Cell, Tainted Love, with Mark Armand, who I bumped into on Tottenham Court Road once. I was going past the YMCA, and he was very shiny man. Very small as well, very little man. I mean, I can't say anything, I'm tiny myself, but yeah, seems nice enough. My oldest son went through a phase of loving the song Tainted Love. It was a whole thing. He was a big fan of it, so I don't know. He likes various different versions of it that I'm not entirely sure I could forgive him for. But yeah, it was quite funny, him liking Tainted Love. And he kept saying, oh, can I hear the Marilyn Manson version of it? And then there was a Pussycat Dolls version, which he liked. And I said, I'm sorry, I have to disown you now. So, yes, we moved on from that fairly quickly once I'd explained to him that that was not acceptable. Now, I have a T-shirt that I wear. I was wearing it yesterday, actually, which was bought from a campaign. Cyndi Lauper has... she started a foundation to support women's education and girls living in poverty, and the T-shirts were sold as part of that. So based on the title of her most famous song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Demental Human Rights. It's a great T-shirt. I'll probably Instagram it at some point. But obviously it's based on her most famous song. She wrote the soundtracks. She wrote all the music for the musical Kinky Boots. Fun fact of the day.
Oh, mama, dear, we're not the fortunate ones. And girls, they
Good old Cyndi Lauper. She's written some great songs. So today is the start of the new season for Lewes FC. You can get a season ticket for men or women's matches, and you can treat yourself to a beach hut viewing experience for up to 6 people. Now that looks amazing. Can you imagine? Get down to the dripping pan and get a beach hut. You've read about the legend, now hire one for yourself. Category A match, £280 to hire a beach hut. Category B match, £170. If rented by a Lewes FC owner, a discount of £20 applies. I'm an owner. Late availability within 7 days of the match for £130 for Category A or £100 for Category B. No owner discounts apply, obviously. The hut rentals include match tickets for up to 6 people, heating, kettle with free tea and coffee, a free matchday poster and a visit from a Lewes FC director. Get in! I think I'm going to have to bring the boys to that, definitely. So I'm going to find out about a match and then bring the boys down for a beach hut because I think that sounds incredible. Can you imagine? That would just be wonderful. Come down for a match, get a pot, get yourself some tea and coffee, match day poster. God, it looks great. The beach huts look brilliant. I'm not entirely sure my boys would even bother watching the match. They'd probably just have a muck about. So if anyone fancies doing that, that sounds brilliant, doesn't it? So the season ticket prices for the adult Isthmian League Premier season tickets, £200. Concessions are £120. And that's 21 home matches. Adults £12, concessions 7, under 16s are free, so that's if you pay normal ticket prices. Women's season ticket prices are as follows. A women's championship season ticket is £80. Concession for women's championship season ticket is £40. The prices otherwise for 11 home league matches. Adults £10 on the gate, £9 online. Concessions £5 on the gate, £4.50 online. Under 16s are free. Under 12s must be accompanied by an adult. Available on the gate unless otherwise publicised. Super season ticket prices, men and women combined. A super season ticket is £260. Concession for a super season ticket is £130. Now I'm going to try and see if there's a game the weekend that I was planning on bringing the boys down, because that could be fun. So if you want to go today, Saturday 10th of August, Lewes v Enfield, Enfield Town. And Lewes on Sunday the 18th of August is Lewes v Blackburn Rovers. So I'm going to keep an eye out and find out if on the bank holiday weekend there's a game. They can come and see me and watch it there, and I'll get a beach hut. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? If you fancy joining, let us know. You can always come. I mean, we've got enough space for 6 people. So if you wanted to, you could always come along, couldn't you? So the reason that I'm a part owner of Lewes FC is because I very much support their equal pay for male and female players. The idea of it being equality, hashtag equality FC, which is fantastic. It's the right thing to do, isn't it? Paying men and women equally, it's the right thing to do. And it's the first, and at the moment, I believe only, professional or semi-professional football club to pay its women's team the same as its men's team as a part of the Equality FC campaign. And it's, this is last year that this was kind of announced that this was going to happen, and I don't think that many other teams have actually picked up on it. So we've spoken to Karen Dobras on this show before now. I remember when both Soraya and I interviewed her about the whole issue of equal pay, and it was lovely to meet Karen. I'd love to have you on the show again, Karen, I'm sure you're very busy today because it's a match day, but it'd be lovely to catch up with you again and have a chat about it, because it's still not commonplace to happen, which just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So the 80s music continues, and I've got some really silly cliched stuff, and then I've got some stuff that is a bit more kind of, what you'd expect. So there's a resurgence in interest in Queen because of the movie about Freddie, and obviously that all the awards and everything that went with it. But if you are of a certain age, you will remember the video for this song, which was one of the funniest things I had ever seen, and possibly the first time I'd ever seen the concept of cross-dressing. I'm not sure.
I want to break free.
Satisfied, I don't
but life still goes on. I can't get used to living without you by my side.
In case you're one of the very few people in the world who hasn't seen the video for that, they're all dressed as women. Roger Taylor is possibly the prettiest. He has blonde bunches and is a girl. And Freddie still has the moustache, but is wearing a miniskirt and is vacuuming. I forget how good the music is because the image is so burned into my retinas of them all dressed as women. It's only Roger makes a pretty woman. The rest of them are really not. Would not do well as women. I'm sorry to be disrespectful, but you don't look good as women. Sorry, guys. So yes, the video is kind of, as I say, burned into my brain. I was going to play Culture Club next, but I think that might be a little bit inappropriate because the first, I will, and I will explain. The first time we saw Culture Club on Top of the Pops, my mum was ironing. I don't do ironing. It's not a thing for me. I mean, I iron maybe once a year. But she was ironing and the TV was on and Top of the Pops came on and Boy George was there. And I knew his name was Boy George. And she looked at him and he had, the beautiful makeup and the long hair, the dreads and the hat and everything. And was singing, "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?" And my mum just said, "Is that a boy or a girl?" And I said, "Well, his name's Boy George, so I think it must be a boy." And obviously since then, we've both came to realise that he was a boy. And there's also a historical connection with this song because my sister was very little when it came out and she was ever so cute. She used to sing it in her own way, which I'll tell you after I've played it. Great video as well.
Without conviction, I'm a man be easy if your colors were like my dreams. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every day is like survival. You're my lover, not my rival. Every day is like survival. You're my lover, not my rival. I'm a man without conviction. I'm a man who doesn't know how to sell the contradiction. You come and go, you come and go. Come a chameleon. You come and go, you come and go. Loving would be easy if your colors were like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Come a chameleon. You come and go, you come and go. Loving would be easy if your colors were like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Come a chameleon. You come and go, you come and go. Loving would be easy if your colors were like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Come a chameleon. You come and go, you come and go.
Feels like it speeds up at the end there. I'm not sure if it's supposed to, but it feels like it suddenly got really quick there. I did go to see them live a few years ago. Went with my lovely friend Carol. And we saw them at Hammersmith. We'd originally had tickets to see them before, and then George had nodes, didn't he? There was a performance on Strictly where his voice didn't sound quite right, and it turned out he had nodes, which was, if you've watched Pitch Perfect, you know that nodes are a terrible thing. I mean, if you're a musician, you know they're a terrible thing. You don't even have to just watch Pitch Perfect. But so they postponed the gig, so we ended up waiting, I think, another year or so to see them. Completely worth it. Absolutely epic gig. Apart from the fact that when I went to sit down, my bag knocked into the person sitting there already, and she was very unimpressed when I knocked over her drink. I was very apologetic, but she did not take it well. To be fair, I probably wouldn't have done if someone knocked over my drink. I probably wouldn't have been that happy. I don't normally drink alcohol at gigs. I normally get tea. I'm a proper old lady. Real old lady. I like me a pot of tea and that's it. You know, I like to have my tea and I don't like to make a fuss, but I like a nice cup of tea. So it's coming to the end. Oh my God, where did that 2 hours go? It's disappeared, as always. But I will be back with you again this time next week. Well, obviously I'll be earlier than this next week because I'll be starting at 10, and hopefully I'll remember to actually switch everything on so you can hear me. Thank you, Mikey, for giving me the idea of the 80s soundtrack. It's been great fun to revisit some of those tracks. And I will be... I'll have to think of a theme for next week. I'm sure I'll think of something. And then, of course, it's the bank holiday, isn't it? Which will be great. So lots of stuff to look forward to. I'm going to play you a couple more tracks anyway. I'm not going just yet, but I'm just deciding what to do. Now, I think it's got to be this one because, again, if a band epitomises the 80s with the hair, the look, the pouts and the cheekbones, it's got to be a-ha. I know they're still going. Morton Harkett et al. Still going. Now I've got to pick an epic tune for the end of the show. Although I started a bit late, so I'm wondering whether I can squeeze in two. What do you think? Yeah, I think I can squeeze in two. So, stop talking, woman. Just play a song. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you, Mikey, for the idea. I'm looking forward to the rest of my music weekend. I've had a gig last night, radio show this morning, which has been a delight. And I'm going to go and watch loads and loads of bands this afternoon. Have a lovely weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Try and keep your hair from getting messed up in the wind. If you don't have hair, lucky you. This weather's yours. This belongs to you. I'll be back with you again next week. But for the time being, I'm going to leave you the Pointer Sisters. Have a fantastic week and take care.
Broadcasting for a worldwide audience.